Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of 13 Now. I'm News Channel 13 meteorologist Paul Caiano. We've been advertising a decent snowstorm all week long, and it looks like it's right on our doorstep now. Let's go over to Max 1, Chris. With the graphics, that's Max 1. Let's go to Max 2 if we can do that, because I want to show some graphics of the latest computer models. And the latest computer models, thank you, are going to show some changes over the last couple of runs. Notice the GFS model, the North American model, and the graph model are all about 10 inches or higher. But what I want to point out is the European model. It is the lowest at 5.3 inches, but it's up from previous runs, which means it's starting to converge into a colder solution that the other models have. Doesn't mean we're going to get 10 or 12 inches, but it means we're probably going to have to think hard this afternoon about changing these numbers in the upward direction for the afternoon newscast. 4 to 8 inches is what we've been going with in the greater capital district for good reason. There's been some, and more than just a little bit of hinting that rain will mix in the Tri-Cities, Albany, Schenectady, Troy, and up to Clifton Park and down the Hudson River Valley. And that would significantly lower the highest totals down to 4 to 8. But now, if we see more snow and less rain, chances are we're probably going to start to see these numbers go up, maybe more like 5 to 9 or 5 to 10 in the greater capital district. So that's what I'm going to be working on this afternoon. You're hearing it here first. Notice a lot of the surrounding communities still 8 to 12, 12 to 18. Those will probably stay put. We may increase those numbers by a couple of inches, but across the highest terrain where we get all snow, it still looks like at least double digits. So that's what we'll be watching as we go through the next several hours. In terms of timing, it's still dry outside in Catskill on the CDPHP first warning cam 33. It's creeping up to 30 now in the Tri-Cities, Albany, specifically 30 degrees. I think we'll add a few more degrees before the afternoon is through. And again, we're talking about temperatures that are right at critical. And here it is, the first warning live Doppler, dry over the Tri-Cities, dry over the capital region, but look down toward Oneonta. Past there, Walton, out toward the edge of the screen on Binghamton, snow is starting to break out. So it's on schedule, and it does look like initially the dry air in place will probably eat away at some of that accumulating snow. But boy, do we have a lot of precipitation down the pike into Pennsylvania, down into the mid-Atlantic, into the Ohio Valley, and that's all headed right for us. So once the snow starts, probably after sunset, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, it'll start to pick up in intensity and become steady and perhaps even heavy at times into the late night hours. Moisture feed off of the Atlantic, moisture feed initially from the Gulf will support this storm in its intensification over the mid-Atlantic region. But it will also, because the strength of the storm, pull in some milder air at the lowest level. So that's why we're still thinking that there could be a changeover to mixed precipitation in the immediate capital district. Let's walk through it hour by hour. Notice the precipitation steadily heading our way, arriving around 8, 9, 10 o'clock. But look right in the Hudson Valley here, Troy, Albany, Kinderhook, down toward Catskill, 35, 36 degrees. If that's the case, we may get these big wet snowflakes mixed with rain, cutting down on the accumulation, at least initially. While this is all going on, continuing to snow at a pretty good clip across the higher terrain surrounding the greater capital district. Deeper into the night, I think what's going to wind up happening here is that the intensity of the snow is going to be significant, which would lower our temperature back down to around 34, 33, 32. If that was the case, we could see just accumulating wet snow even in the greater capital district. So that's what's so tricky about this. If it stays a degree higher, we could be looking at little accumulation and more in the way of rain. But I think enough intensity with this system combined with the storm track that would produce cold enough air to produce more in the way of snow, albeit of the wet variety at 33, 34 degrees. So early morning Friday, sloppy, slushy in the valleys, accumulating snow coming down at a good clip in the higher terrain. It looks like more and more of the snow later in the day and Friday night will accumulate. So I'm feeling more confident in the higher snowfall totals. Things will wind down early in the day on Saturday. You can see at 7 a.m. We're drying out from south to north, and it looks like just a few snow showers with temperatures dropping Saturday afternoon into the 20s. So we'll stick around the freezing point, maybe a couple degrees higher this afternoon as clouds thicken and that snow arrives this evening. It becomes steadier and heavier after midnight. We talked about the possibility with the mixture of rain. So, an alert day for Friday with that mixed bag in the morning in spots, but more snow than anything else. Through the middle of the day, again, perhaps a little bit of a toggle between rain and snow. But I think we go back to all snow Friday late in the day and at night. So, a few more inches on top of what we get, winding it down Saturday morning, dry for the rest of the weekend, temperatures holding in the 30s. So, a lot to dissect here. But as computer models come in, a clearer picture appears to be emerging toward a solution that looks like it's going to be colder, which means probably a bit more on the snowier side rather than the rainier side, but still valley locations, a little bit lower numbers with the higher terrain getting the jackpot and over 10, 12 inches or more as we get into the day on Friday and into Friday night. We'll, of course, have much more, the latest computer model trends and a detailed forecast for you. We're going to keep working on this. We're going to start that tonight at 4. But for now, we're going to let you go, and we're going to be back here to update the forecast in just a bit. We'll see you.